Hey, how are you doing? I'm Stacey Ann Louie, lactation consultant, doula, and one-fourth of the Thrive Lactation group or organization, I should say. Today, I'm here with Faith Tomi Wilson, who I've been waiting to have this conversation with for a while. We're going to be talking about diet, what you eat, all that stuff with breastfeeding. So I'm going to let her introduce her wonderful self to you. I know her because of her lactating history, and just, where she is right now. And she's going to let you know more about herself.
Thank you so much, Stacey Ann, for the introduction. It is an honor and a privilege to be here and to be with you all, those that are tuning in with us. And so I am Faith Tomi Wilson. I am actually a pregnancy and postpartum, also known as perinatal mental health therapist. I am also a birth support coach and Black maternal health advocate. And so I am passionate about all things health and wellness and motherhood and pregnancy and breastfeeding. I mean, this right here is like an exciting thing. So I'm really, really just glad to be here. I am the wife of one man by the name of Ronald Wilson. And we have one beautiful baby boy and counting. He will be 21 months tomorrow.
Oh my gosh, it's been that long?
Yes, he's almost 2. He is almost 2. And so, yeah. And so right now, I am actually just in preparation to kind of get some things in place to actually open my practice and really be able to serve our community, primarily, obviously not, ostracizing anybody, but really bringing that support, which we will talk about later, that's needed in our community. So that's a little bit about me.
Okay, awesome. I'm so excited. And see, guys, this is the reason why having this conversation with her is so rich, because we're coming from a place of, I know these things because I study, this is my craft, but also I know this because of my experience. Now, your one experience doesn't necessarily make you an expert, but it does make you know something. And coming from lived experience is so important, especially in the Black and Brown community, because we need to hear information and stories like this. So I'm going to start off this by saying, finish this sentence for me. Motherhood is.
Mm.
Mm.
Motherhood is, I know, right?
Yeah.
Motherhood is legacy.
Ooh, I love this. I love this. And breastfeeding is.
Natural, but does not come naturally.
Ooh, I love that. I love that. I love that. And we should be doing a lot of this is. So what led your decision to provide breast milk for your baby?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So
Yeah.
a little bit more about myself. So I am first generation Nigerian American.
Yeah.
So my parents are immigrants. I'm from Nigeria, but I was born here in the States, Nashville, Tennessee, to be specific. And I grew up, it was just kind of one of those things in my mind that
Mhm.
breastfeeding was like the only option, like legitimately. I never really saw anyone around me feeding like formula, because even though we lived in the States, most of my parents, especially when immigrants come, they tend to like find their people.
Yep.
And you do life together. Listen, my parents' people were so serious. They moved from Tennessee to Atlanta together. Like they were not playing them games. And so even around me, what I saw was breastfeeding. So it was never told to me like, you have to breastfeed or that's the only option. But what I saw and what I grew up with was seeing that. And so it was just like an intrinsic thing, like you breastfeed, like that's what you do. And so of course, fast forward, life, I'm growing, I'm maturing, all of that. And I, at a very young age, I would say relatively like in my teens, I remember definitively saying like, oh, I'm going to breastfeed. Like I'm going to breastfeed. Like that's just what I'm going to do. And it wasn't until much later, shortly before actually getting married and then having my son, when I really started learning the benefits of breastfeeding. And then recognizing what in our community in the States, because it is different in other countries, but our community in the States, like the taboo and the stigma and everything, I was like, oh, wow. And so that too was part of like what informed, like, not only do I want to breastfeed, but I want to learn more about even why should we breastfeed, the benefits of it beyond the fact that all the women around me were doing it, so we just do it, which isn't a bad thing, right?
Yeah.
But so that's kind of like in a nutshell where my framework was coming from and like the decision that I made.
Okay, awesome. I love that you say that your environment informed the decisions you make. And oftentimes we don't realize that our environment inform our decisions, or if we don't have the environment that inform our decision, how it plays into that type of stuff. So we're going to expand a little bit more on the conversation of diet and actually breastfeeding, because let's face it, I feel like it's a confusing thing itself. So I'm going to have this baby and I'm going to breastfeed my baby. And then at some point in pregnancy or before, something says to you, how am I going to support or fuel my body to feed this baby?
Mm-hmm.
Did that ever weigh on you in any way? Did you spend any time contemplating before or when you just had the baby, like, how am I going to eat? How am I going to fuel my body to give this baby breast milk?
Mm-hmm. So my experience was a little different.
Mm-hmm.
So for those of you who don't know, I am plant-based, also known as vegan, but I don't really subscribe to veganism because that's like a whole lifestyle, like down to your clothes, your bag, your car. Your girl ain't that deep. It's really strictly about the nutrition for me,
Yeah.
primarily. I do
Yeah.
believe animals should not be harmed either. But anyway, so let's not get
Yeah.
on the
Let's not get on that. Yeah.
So with that,
Yeah.
my number one focus actually was just making sure the first thing about food was making sure that one, I didn't have to cook, be real honest.
Yeah.
That first few, I was like, I'm not cooking anything.
Yeah.
And I just knew because of my personal lived experience of already being like a person that's very nutrition conscious, I was like, I need to make sure that I have wholesome plant-based food. I don't want to cook it, and make sure that I have enough. So that was like my initial thought process.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even directly connected to breastfeeding. It was more so like, I just had a baby. I know my body then went through, even with the most beautiful story or the most complication-free story, your body still goes through a lot. And so it was, my body needs to be replenished and I got to feed this baby.
Okay.
Those were my initial thoughts. And it actually wasn't until I began my breastfeeding journey. And in full transparency, I had a tooth that began to discolor during my pregnancy. Around a 3 to 4 month mark, I started having some hair loss that, it's talked about often, that postpartum hair loss. My skin started to dull. And because of my, just my own framework of, I knew it was nutrition. I was like, okay, I'm not getting something somewhere. I need to do some digging. I need to learn a little bit more because your girl, I felt like I was falling apart. Being very honest, I felt like I was falling apart. And so that's when I really started doing some more study or just reaching out, asking questions. I know our amazing Thrive support group. I know I was all up in that thing, like, y'all, somebody. And started just learning more about how nutrition impacts breastfeeding, as well as the overall well-being of the mother. Because I also would notice, for me, I know there's different, and we'll probably talk about this, but I could tell, like, when I was eating really well, the consistency of my milk was different from when I was not eating. My milk still flowed, but the consistency of my milk was not the same.
Okay. So I'm going to stop something here because I hear you say, like, my milk still flow, but the consistency is different. So what we're talking about here is not that eating something will stop, or eating more or less or something will stop the flow of your milk. We're talking about me focusing on what I ate to fuel my body. And as a result of fueling, making myself healthier, I was able to produce the type of breast milk that I wanted, but also was able to, when I was healthy, I knew that I was able to produce the milk that I wanted for my child. So that's pretty big right there. Did you find that you needed to add any commercialized or whatever lactation aids, cookies, tinctures, all that stuff to improve your health and your breastfeeding journey. Like, let's talk about that.
Yeah. So I'm so
Yeah.
glad you asked that question.
Yeah.
So I tried, so y'all
Yeah.
hear me out, okay? Y'all hear
Yeah.
this. I
No,
tried.
there's no judgment here because we've all been down a certain road, okay? You heard me. I talked about
Yeah,
my journey.
listen. I tried the teas. I think I got some cookies at one point.
Yeah.
I did what else? I didn't get it, but I
Yeah.
was about to get me a special lactation protein smoothie thing. Your girl was, if it wasn't for my husband being like, no more, like you buy, you don't, ma'am, finish up what you got. But I tried a number of things. And this is what I personally discovered in my journey of trying all the things. I know there are some people who swear by the different products and all of that. But what I found was that it wasn't the teas in and of themselves or the cookies in and of themselves or any of the additional like special foods or things in and of themselves. But what I learned was that when my body was supported with the nutrients it needed, that my body was able to better produce milk. So I believe, I'm not putting this on no, I believe that the reason why when women start drinking the teas, they think that the tea, maybe I would say it wasn't the tea where you dehydrated. Is it the herbs within that tea that actually possibly gave your body more nutrients, more support? So the body was able, because dehydration affects your flow. So if I'm believing this tea and I'm drinking this tea, well, baby, you hydrating. That's why.
Yes.
That's
why you make it work.
Or let's say the cookies, the different foods and things like that, right? We could say it was the food, or maybe you weren't getting enough of the nutrients that your body needed. And so now taking that in, you're getting more of the nutrients. So you help. So that's just something that I've been really, and now what I will say, now I would tell y'all this, your girl ate oatmeal. I made oatmeal. The way I would do it is my oatmeal, and I would do like almonds and chia and flax and hemp seeds. I mean, baby, anything, pumpkins, anything that I could make it like a superfood oatmeal. I ate
pumpkin
that.
seeds are, when I tell you people, you need to get into pumpkin seeds, but that's a different thing. It is amazing for your body overall. The actual, all the nutrients, all what pumpkin seed itself alone carries. When I learned that, I was like, grind.
Listen, I eat them things like sunflower. But so I will say that eating oatmeal was something that I did. And oatmeal is one of those foods that they say is very beneficial, when you're breastfeeding. And so my oatmeal, a Nigerian dish called efo. So it's like, it's like greens, but we make it different, and it just has a lot of nutrients and peppers and onions and different things. And that's something I eat almost every single day. And so I think that my body, like, again, getting those nutrients, right, from those foods, it did help. But yeah, I tried a lot of things. And now on the other side, I would say baby number 2, I ain't doing none of it. I am, after all the stuff I tried, and throughout my 18 months, when baby boy self-weaned himself, I was so sad, y'all, but it was still beautiful. But after all that I went through and everything, and looking back and just seeing, like, even paying attention to my journey, I was just like, the number one thing I will do different is I will make sure that I am supporting my body, that I'm staying hydrated, and I'm supporting my body. And then there's another part I have, but I'm gonna let you interject that.
No, I think that's so important, because this is it. So first baby is a test baby. People laugh when I say it, but your first baby, if you have more than one, is your test baby. That's the one that you freak out. The temperature has to be the right way. The clothes have to be like this. Nobody can touch. You need people to spray themselves, Dettol, everything. Like, we use Jamaican background, so Dettol is a big thing in my thing. Like, you guys talk about sanding. I'm like, no, bring the bottle of Dettol out. We are using that for everything. So, like, we do everything to make sure, and then you learn along the way that some of these things, but also you gain your confidence. Being certain things you learn. So that lived experience. I'm a big fan of feeding your body to produce what you want to produce.
Yes.
There are women that we've seen in war-torn countries that are eating basic carbs, like maybe cornmeal or something like that. Not enough protein, a lot of plant-based stuff because meat is not something that you have. And they're still able to, with water, to sustain and feed their babies milk from their body. So we know that you can produce breast milk
Yes.
regardless, but it's the quality. But we also know that a person cannot live off millets and this alone. So
Yeah.
to really feed yourself efficiently, to have the energy to do all that stuff, it's important to feed your body. So it's so important that you actually brought up the whole thing of feeding your body the way you should and focusing on that
Yeah.
itself. Are there any, I would say for yourself, what would you share with someone who's saying, hey, I'm thinking about being plant-based to start this journey. Should we start being plant-based when we're starting breastfeeding, or should that be something that we leave to explore at a different time? Because we want to do everything
I
right.
know, I know. So in like humility and wisdom, it would be based on the woman. And this is why I say that we all have different capacities and capabilities at different times in our lives. And so if I'm talking to a mom and she comes to me and she really wants to get into the journey of being plant-based while she's breastfeeding, but she's also working a 9-to-5 and she got 3 other kids and we got 1,500 other things going on, I would probably tell her, you know what, sis, let's hold off on this maybe. And I'd give her a practical thing, like, you know what, instead of trying to fully go plant-based, let's start with trying a new vegetable a week, right? Maybe that's something you can do. So I would start, really small, but doable, so that you feel like you are accomplishing something and you're learning and you're growing, but it doesn't overwhelm you and cause anxiety, which would now be PPA, postpartum anxiety, depression, which would now be PPD, psychosis, rage, all of these things that come, right? We're not trying to add onto your plate in a way that will overwhelm, but maybe there's another mama, her mom is living with her, she got a nanny on top of that, she's a stay-at-home, she's not working, she's literally just in the house and she's just feeding her baby and that's all. And she's like, I really want to start on this journey. I might advise her different because she may have that capacity. There goes my sweet boy, you all.
Listen, our babies are always there in some way,
Babe,
somewhere.
You can let him come because he'll just keep screaming if he doesn't. He can't come.
I love cameos.
Hi, he just got up from his nap. Come here, with your bed head. Ooh, would you like a cherry? Like a cherry?
He's like, Barry. He's like, you can eat the cherry.
Okay. Do you want to go down get some chips? Want some blue corn? Get some chips? Okay, you're not sure? You want to go get them? Here, go get it from Daddy. Go get it. Go get it, good boy. Okay, go get it. He's
I love it.
He wants the chips.
And I will say, guys, to point out something, people wonder what like breastfed babies look like, and if you want to wonder what a plant-based baby look like, that was one right there. And he's continued to eat in a similar way, but it's just, if you ever wonder if it doesn't impact their weight, doesn't impact their development. When it came onto the growth curve, as you brought your son to the pediatrician, did it affect anything in that way?
So actually it did not. And part of that though, so I'm going to tie that into something I don't want to forget to share with you all. And Stacey, and let me know if he gets too loud and you're unable to hear me clearly. I just want to make sure.
Kids. And anybody who's listening to this probably has age. So go ahead.
Yes. So to finish up the first thought, so that mother, I may give her a lot more guidance. The mom that has a little bit more capacity, she has more time, she has more ability. And then there's a continuum, right? I'm not trying to box anybody into one of those two types of moms at all, but just giving examples, right?
Okay.
So with that, fast forward to the most recent topic. What I loved, because people are amazed. They're like, wait, he's a plant-based, especially when he was just on the breast and baby boy was just growing and thriving. And it was just like, he only eats breast milk, like that's all you give
That's
him.
all you eat.
Yes, that's it. For a while. But it did not affect his growth at all. It did not affect any part of his development. His pediatrician never had any concerns about him growing or anything. He's always kind of been in the upper interest, even as a breastfed baby, even with both charts, because some people don't know that there's actually a breastfeeding growth chart, and then there's the everybody else growth chart. And he did well.
Yeah.
But part of that too was that even before solids, again, once I learned a little bit more, making sure that I was getting the nutrients that I needed. And I didn't, and I'm not judging any mother that did this, but when it came to breastfeeding for me, I realized that putting my son on a schedule, even before, especially in those first 3 months, I do not advise, and this is shout out to my lactation consultant, Miss Kiana Ayers. I do not advise trying to put your baby on a schedule before 3 months at all. That on demand, it is a challenge. Yes, I called and texted her many a times, like, and she was like, Faith, you got this. It's gonna be okay. But those first 3 months, it was on demand. At any point, anytime. Was it a discomfort to me at times? Absolutely, it was. Like I said earlier, that breastfeeding is natural, but it does not come naturally. So what I was alluding to that is that breastfeeding is a natural. When I say natural, I mean biologically, our breast, over 90% of women, we're gonna lactate. There are very few medical cases, outlier situations where a woman will have challenges with that. You're going to lactate, the milk is going to come. Yeah. That's what I mean by it is natural. The body is going to do that. But what does not come naturally is that beautiful dance between mom and baby of learning how to breastfeed. That does not come naturally. A lot of us think that it does, baby. That ain't how it works.
That's not how it works.
And I think that without that knowledge, a lot of disappointment is had. And a lot of women give up, and a lot of women quit early because of thinking like, I'm a woman, I should just know how to breastfeed. No, I mean, well, you could say I'm a woman, your breast should produce milk, but definitely not, you should just know how to breastfeed. Like that's why we need you all. That's why Space Again is a gold mine. That's why, yes, like any mama that comes to me, they already know that there are 4 types of people I'm gonna tell you need, okay? And one of them is a lactation consultant, a lactation specialist. And then I got criteria for that too. They need to meet some criteria. But
there is.
But I wanted to, I know I'm saying a lot, it's the end, but
no, go ahead, please. Like, we're here for this. We are here for this, please.
Yes. And so with my son being entirely plant-based for the first year of his life, there were no issues. Thriving, healthy, as a compromise, because my husband is not plant-based. And so once he turned 1, the first thing we introduced was eggs. Yeah. That was my first thing. And it was, we had a compromise. So eggs, and then eventually the only other animal proteins he eats up until this point, and he's almost 2, is chicken and fish. Yeah. So those are the only 3. And then everything else. So he's over 80, almost 90% still plant-based baby. And most of his meals, some days he won't eat any meat. He won't have eggs. He won't have any chicken. He won't have any fish. Other days he may have it for all 3 meals. So he's definitely a flexitarian plant-based baby right now. But yeah, like no issues at all with his health. He's thriving, his teeth, his bones, everything are strong and healthy. But I did have to be intentional the same way I had to be intentional with myself of making sure I was properly nourished. I had to be very intentional, and I still am with his nutrients. So making sure that with every meal, or even within the day, because every meal can be overwhelming at times. Yeah. Get everything in every meal. It's not even realistic.
It's not realistic.
Day, I'm looking at my whole day. I'm like, okay, has he gotten some type of good protein? Has he had some good carbs, some good fats? Have we taken our vitamins for the few that he does get? Have I given him some other things that have those micronutrients, those vitamins and minerals that he needs? And that's just kind of, and you're learning. So like, don't even overwhelm yourself with trying to figure all of that out in one day. I'm still learning. I'm still figuring it out. And then my last thought. So this book is phenomenal. I don't know if you all can see it.
Oh, the first 40 days.
There we go. Bam.
There it is.
All right. This book, this is called The First 40 Days. It's the essential art of nourishing the new mother. I'm probably going to butcher the author's name. I don't know if it's Hengyo, I'm not sure, but it's Heng, last name Ou. And then it has some other co-authors. But if you don't have this book, mama, you need this book. And the main thing I want to pull out of this book to encourage a mother that may need to hear this, and this is something that we're not taught, but it is crucial. In your first 40 days, it is like imperative that your body is getting warm, nutritious foods. And it's an emphasis on warm. So I'm not going to get into a whole lesson, but what the body goes through pregnancy, and then that very early, I would even venture to say, honestly, the first 6 months of postpartum, the body is being stripped. Nutrients are literally being leached, and the body literally shifts into give the baby what it needs mode. That's it. It's all about your baby. And so, and even science backs up that your body, the way warm foods like heal and nourish the body, like you have an entire wound on the inside where the placenta was released. Like there's so many parts, whether it was cesarean or vaginal, all of this stuff needs to heal. Hormones are out of whack. Mental health is like, all of that is like this. And if in those first 40 days, we don't get like the nutrients put back in, it actually can elongate. So that's why a lot of women, your child is 7 or 8 years old, and we're still dealing with certain things in the mind, still got certain issues in the body, still got certain things, is because that crucial period from the moment baby is born, and I would say the first 6 months, those nutrients were not poured back into mom. And your body continued to strip from itself to provide for your baby. And then whenever you stop breastfeeding, or even if you didn't, then the body's in survival mode. It's in survival mode. And so warm, like high emphasis on warm. So like oatmeals and soups and different broths. And if depending on your, oh wow. So depending on it, I think my husband's trying to keep him away and he is not happy.
He's like, no.
Oh my goodness. And so just warm foods, looking into different herbs, different spices, just different ways for the body to get the nutrients that it needs, and not like, because I know a lot of women, you're trying to snap back. So it's like soup and, excuse me, it's like salads and smoothies. And those nutrients are great, but that cold food, it does not benefit the body. Not in that time frame. It actually does harm. It's actually harmful. And so that's something that I wanted to share, and just this resource as well when it comes to that. And so, I'm gonna mute myself so you can talk, but I can hear you.
No, you want, so I really can't hear him. But I will say, I absolutely love that you brought that up. What an incredible way to end this conversation. Because that book has been a resource for me, has been something that I share as a postpartum doula, as somebody who sees mom in the first week postpartum as a lactation consultant. I was like, you don't have this book, honey, please get it. Like, somebody needs to do it. If you don't, or here is somebody that I know, if you're ordering food, that will give you these things, itself to nutrients. So my takeaway from this is that diet is really about feeding the body well, and it will produce milk for your baby. The type of milk you want to produce is up to you, whether it's going to be plant-based, whether it's a mix, whether it's pescatarian, whatever it is, it will feed your baby. But it's so important to put into you first. Put on your life preserver, put it on.
That's it.
And then you will feed your baby. This has been an absolutely great conversation. Thank you for bringing out the book. I didn't even know you were, but I love that you This is what I love about great organic conversations, right? That we just have conversation, we float into it, and we talk about things. Thank you so very much, Faith, for this. I look forward to talking to you on other topics and learning from you. Also, I will link all of her information. I will absolutely link it because this is somebody that you want to know during your pregnancy, during postpartum. She's an absolute just great spirit in terms of how she guides moms and parents into this very blessed and sacred part of life. I believe it is. And this is a journey that we take not for 1 month, not for 6 months. This is a good 18 to 25-year commitment. So
Emphasis on the 25.
then 25, because we gotta start. And some of us are still asking for a little pocket change to start. So So it's a good relationship that lasts, and it's really good when we get that good base. So thank you so very much. I so appreciate it. Any words that you want to say before we go?
Oh man, parting words. I would just encourage to the mother that is watching this, or I said reading, I'm looking at the book, whether you are a first time mom, right? This is your very, very first baby that you're about to have or have already had, or you're a new mom. And my philosophy is that every time we have a baby, we become a new mother. And so whether you're on the 5th child or the 2nd, you're a new mom with every single child. So my first time mamas and my new mamas, I just want to encourage you to live at the grace of pace and live at the pace of grace. Be gentle with yourself. We are so hard on ourselves. We get so down. We are our worst critics at times. And you can even just kind of be defeated before you even get started if you're already being that harsh and critical voice to yourself about your mothering journey. That's unique. Don't compare yourself. Don't look to the left, to the right. What she's doing doesn't matter as far as juxtaposing it against yourself that you're not good enough. We need that support, right? And that camaraderie. But I just wanted to encourage you to live at the pace of grace for your life so that you can run your race and you can embrace yourself and who you are and enjoy it. So those are my parting words.
Oh my gosh, you inspired me right now. Goodness. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Faith, and look forward to many more interesting conversations.
Yeah.
Bye, bye, bye.